And this is the key that no one's ever done this before, which is that we take the information of what the neurons want to do and we feed it back into the simulation. So
it feeds from the neuron into the tile, and then it feeds it back into the simulation.
Right. Okay. And in the simulation, it feeds it back into the neurons by the tiles. So you have a closed loop cycle.
Okay. Yeah. And this was, I thought it was really cool that at first you started off, you didn't tell him where the ball was positioned exactly. You kind of gave it like direction and momentum, I think, or like speed. And then you said, okay, here's the actual position of the ball. And then it did a lot better. So it was almost like giving it visual senses in a sense. I don't know if that's correct.
It's
more information.
More information. Yeah. I mean, the more fascinating thing is more like, and this is the thing that people are always like scratching their heads going, how did it learn? What does it know to hit the ball or not? Right. Like what's in reinforcement learning and what's the reward? Right. And I think this is fascinating. Like we haven't quite proven it down yet, but we use this theory developed by Professor Carl Friston. It's the last work of the paper. The theory that he developed is called the free energy principle, which is very simply to state that the brain, or any like organism that operates intelligently, does so by having an organ like the brain be a generative Bayesian model. In a sense, what it's trying to say is that you and I, at every moment in time, our brains are generating a hypothesis of what the world is. And we confirm the hypothesis through observation, so our senses. And then we also, when we want to examine and learn more about why the model that we generated doesn't fit the observation, we have the ability to have motor function. We go, for instance, if we see a cup that's floating, we reach out and grab it and go, okay, what's going on here?
We explore the world to get more information.
Correct.
Essentially.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, this is this whole thing about what's called information surprise, right? And there's actually a mathematical formulation for information surprise. But simply state is the amount of surprise can be measured by what you expect the observation to be and what the observed observation is, right? And so the actions that we do all try to reduce the amount of information surprise. So if let's say a cup was floating and I was like, what the hell is going on here? I'm very surprised. I reach out and grab it and I start tugging. It's like, oh, someone's pulling a prank because there's like fishing wire or whatever.
Then I was
it's on a string. I've resolved my surprise because I know I've explained why that's happened. So this phenomenon of the neuron generating an internal model of what the world is, in this case, Pong, we thought we could exploit by saying, if we want something to work, we then feed it information that is predictable. So a sine wave is a very predictable signal, right? Because you can give it one period, you can figure out what all the subsequent periods are going to be like. And to detract or to discourage it from doing the wrong thing, i.e. miss the ball, we feed it a very random noisy signal. And it turns out that works, but there's also, it blew our mind the fact that also...
So when you feed it the sine signal, assuming that you fed it a sine signal, it's like happy. And it's like, okay, I'm actually predicting this. And then when it say misses a ball, you send in noisy random feedback and the cells or the neurons are like unhappy with that. And they're like, okay, I want to revert this or like learn how to not get it back into this state. So then, that teaches them how to like track the ball and continue like the sine wave inputs so that, and then they keep hitting the balls.
Correct. And it's also fascinating as well because we discovered another, it was a sort of byproduct of us doing control testing, right? Which was, what if we were to just turn off all the signal, right? What would happen? It turns out they also start, if you don't even provide, say if you don't provide a reward stimulus or a punishment, and all you do is if they miss the ball, you just turn off the game, they actually start learning to play.
You turn off the game. Like completely. So then they have no inputs. So then like their world just goes dark. Okay.
Correct.
And so they don't want a dark world?
Pretty much, because if you it didn't make sense to us until we started thinking about it. A world that's completely void of stimulus is one that is extremely, extremely unpredictable because you have no idea what it is.
Yeah.